If you're a parent over 60, there's a good chance you said things to your children that came from love, yet somehow didn't land as love. Maybe you meant to guide. Maybe you meant to protect. Maybe you meant to encourage. But your adult children, the ones who now choose their own words more carefully, still remember the phrases that made them feel small, pressured, or misunderstood. And what's even harder? Many parents don't realize those phrases were hurtful at all. Today, we're talking about 5 things parents often say with love, but that adult children hear in a completely different way. And we'll explore one powerful story, a mother who truly believed she was helping, and a daughter who spent years recovering from the weight of those loving words. By the end, you'll know exactly how to turn old patterns into new healing. I've spent years studying family communication, emotional development, and the lifelong impact of parenting styles, especially on adults over 30 and their aging parents. And there's something I've learned again and again. What feels like love to the parent doesn't always feel like love to the child. Not because the parent did anything wrong, but because children hear tone, meaning, and identity in every phrase, especially in the home they grew up in. Today, I want to guide you through a story that mirrors what many families go through. A story with no villains, just a mother doing her best and a daughter trying to understand herself. Let me introduce you to Margaret and her daughter, Elena. Margaret was the kind of mother everyone admired. Soft-spoken, polite, always ready with a warm meal and a gentle touch on your shoulder. She believed that kindness was the most important virtue a person could have. But kindness, for Margaret, sometimes meant smoothing out the rough edges, even when those edges were part of her daughter's personality. Elena grew up loved. She also grew up feeling small, not because of shouting or anger. Her mother never raised her voice, but because of subtle phrases spoken softly with good intentions that shaped the way Elena saw herself. Phrases like, "Are you sure you want to do that? I just want what's best for you. You were always my sensitive one." Margaret didn't know those words were planting seeds of self-doubt. She didn't know. She only found out decades later, when Elena finally had the courage to tell her. And that conversation, the one they had in their mid-50s and mid-70s, became the moment everything changed. From that story, we uncover the 5 phrases that sound loving, but often hurt more than parents realize. Using Clay's formula, situation. Margaret loved her daughter deeply. She believed soft advice was the best way to guide her. Desire. She wanted Elena to be safe, polite, steady, and protected from disappointment. Elena, on the other hand, wanted to feel trusted and capable, like her mother believed she could handle her own life. Conflict. Margaret's well-meaning phrases came across as doubt, pressure, or emotional shrink-wrapping. Elena heard, "You can't handle this. You're too fragile. You need my approval." Neither of them realized how the other felt. Change. It wasn't until Elena became a mother herself and recognized those same patterns slipping out of her own mouth that she paused and asked, "Why do I talk to my child like this? Where did I learn it?" She traced it back, gently, carefully, to Margaret. Result: one honest conversation decades into their relationship opened the door to healing. Margaret finally understood that good intentions aren't enough. Impact matters too. And Elena finally felt seen, maybe for the first time. From that story, let's look at the 5 phrases that caused the most harm, even though they were spoken with love. Research confirms this dynamic. According to studies from the University of Washington and Harvard's Center on the Developing Child, children form long-lasting beliefs about themselves based on repeated parental language, especially phrases tied to identity, capability, and emotion. Even subtle comments can shape self-confidence, emotional regulation, boundaries, and ability to trust their own judgment. Researchers call these micro-messages, small statements that accumulate over time, much like drops of water carving stone. And as adults, we remember them. Not always consciously. Sometimes the body holds the memory, even when the mind forgets. Studies in family therapy note that adult children often carry an emotional echo of their parents' repeated phrases, which influences how safe they feel sharing, whether they shut down, how they respond to conflict, and how deeply connected they feel to their parent in later life. And most parents had no idea. They meant love. Their adult children heard something else. Let's bring this back to Margaret and Elena and break down the 5 phrases specifically. Now we go deeper into the story, showing each phrase, its impact, and how parents can speak differently today.
The 5 phrases. 1. Are you sure you want to do that? How Margaret meant it. A gentle caution, a soft warning, a loving nudge to think twice. How Elena heard it. You probably can't handle this. Why it hurts. According to emotional development research, children are highly sensitive to implied doubt. Even a slight question can feel like a withdrawal of confidence. In the story, Elena remembers this phrase when she joined a school theater group. She was nervous, excited, and Margaret gently asked her that question. She didn't mean to create fear, but Elena instantly second-guessed herself. That single sentence became a pattern in her adulthood, stepping back, shrinking down, choosing safety over self-expression. 2. You were always my sensitive one. How Margaret meant it. As tenderness, as recognition, as I understand who you are. How Elena heard it. You're too emotional, you're fragile, you're difficult. Why it hurts. Labeling, even with affection, can limit identity. Psychologists call this identity assignment, and it often leads adult children to suppress emotions or apologize for their nature. In the story, every time Elena cried, hesitated, or asked a question, her mother said it, "You were always my sensitive one." It became a box she lived in, a box that told her how much emotion was allowed. 3. I just want what's best for you. How Margaret meant it. Pure love. She wanted Elena safe, stable, and free from mistakes. How Elena heard it. Do what I prefer. Choose what I approve. My love depends on it. Why it hurts. Family therapists say this phrase often hides emotional control unintentionally. It sounds supportive, but it can silence a child's true desires. In the story, Elena remembered this phrase during college. She wanted to major in art. Her mother preferred nursing. Margaret said softly, "I just want what's best for you." Elena switched majors, not because she wanted to, but because she wanted peace. 4. You know your mother only wants you to be happy. How Margaret meant it. A reassurance. How Elena heard it. My happiness is your responsibility. Don't upset me. Don't disappoint me. Why it hurts. This creates emotional guilt, even if unintended. Researchers call it covert emotional pressure, where a parent's feelings become a child's burden. In the story, every time Elena made a choice her mother disagreed with, a relationship, a job, a move, Margaret said, "You know your mother only wants you to be happy." But the tone was worried, hesitant, almost sad. Elena felt responsible for her mother's comfort. 5. I love you. I just didn't expect you to turn out this way. How Margaret meant it. As an attempt to reconcile differences. A soft way of saying, I'm surprised by who you've become, but I love you anyway.
How Elena heard it. "You're a disappointment." Why it hurts. This phrase directly links love with expectation. It tells the child, "There was a version of you I wanted. You are not that version." In the story, this was the phrase that broke Elena. It was spoken during an argument in her late 20s. Margaret didn't mean harm. She was overwhelmed and struggling, but Elena carried this one for decades. Years later, when Elena was in her 50s and Margaret in her 70s, they had their first real conversation about the past. It happened in Margaret's kitchen, a pot of tea between them, a quiet afternoon sun through the window. Elena said gently, "Mom, the things you said were loving, I know that, but they made me feel so unsure of myself. I always tried to be small so I wouldn't disappoint you." Margaret froze. Her eyes softened. She whispered, "I never meant that. I was trying to protect you because life was so hard for me growing up. I just didn't want you to suffer the way I did." For the first time, they understood each other. Not with blame, not with anger, but with truth. And that moment opened a door that had been stuck for decades. If you're a parent over 60, here's the good news. It's never too late to rewrite the emotional script. And the first step isn't perfection, it's awareness. Awareness that even loving words can wound. Awareness that your adult child might carry memories you never intended to create. Awareness that healing begins with an honest, gentle conversation. Here's what adult children want most. Not a different past, not a perfect parent, just a parent who can say, "I didn't realize, I care, I want to do better now." That alone heals more than you can imagine. So maybe today is the day you choose a new sentence, a softer sentence, a healing sentence, something like, "I see you, I trust you, you don't have to earn my love, you already have it." Because words, just like wounds, run deep, but words can also heal. If this video touched you, please like, share, or subscribe. It helps more families heal, one sentence at a time. If you'd like the next script, just tell me the title.